return to rebuild. I think the fellow's name was Adina or Adinabab. He was sent back to Jerusalem with 666 men to rebuild the temple. And the next time we see it is in the book of Revelation with the beast. And the number of the name of the beast when he goes into the temple and declares himself God is the number of 666. So it all has to do with Israel and the temple. In Solomon's time, in the post-captivity of Babylon, and in the future millennium.
Is your tummy hurting?
No, I just thought it looked good. We are live.
Okay. We are live.
We caught that. Welcome, YouTube and Rumble. Sorry, Richard. Okay, so long story short is welcome back. We're talking about the beast and not our stomachs. I mean, sometimes it feels like that, right? So, long story short is that Richard has, I feel like you have an interesting perspective, but I'd like to hear it, and we can also put some of this in a chat and see what chat thinks if you would like to have a conversation with chat.
Well, we already had a brief conversation with chat, and chat was somewhat nondescript in saying that she couldn't be definitive on the beast or anything associated with that teaching because there's so much difference and conflict between the different religious persuasions. So so are we going now? So
Yeah,
let me say something. What I want to do is not give, from my point of view, I'm not giving my perspective on the beast. I'm trying to give the Bible perspective on the beast and what it says. So the first place that the beast is mentioned in the Bible is in Daniel chapter 7. And there he's called the prince that will come, the coming prince. But the first place we get real definitive commentary on the beast without allusion or without speculation is in Revelation 13. So when Daniel introduces the beast to us, in Daniel chapter 7, what had happened, the Jewish people, with the invasion of Nebuchadnezzar into Israel, he took the Jews captive and he took them to Babylon. There were 3 separate deportations when he conquered Israel that occurred. 2 of them, there was the first one, and 7 years later there was another deportation, and then 14 years later there was another deportation, and these were given separate names. But Jeremiah had prophesied that after 70 years passed from one of these deportations, that God would bring the Jews back into the land and that they would rebuild their temple and rebuild their city walls. And Daniel found this out when he was a prisoner in Babylon. Well, actually, I wouldn't call him a prisoner. He was, through miraculous things that had occurred, he became a servant to the king. But he read Jeremiah, and he recognized that there would be this return to the land of the people. And that's where, we can't go into that today, but that's where we see the prophecy of Daniel's 70 weeks. And he said there would be 70 weeks of years, 490 years. And here's one of the greatest prophecies in the Bible, is through Daniel we get to know when Christ would be put to death in 29 AD. But let's look at the beast the way Daniel puts it, and it's in Daniel chapter 9, starting in verse 24. And here's a vision that the Lord sends to Daniel through an angel. And he says, Daniel, 70 weeks have been decreed for your people and your holy city. And so here we see, no doubt about it, Daniel and your people. That's Israel. That's Old Testament Jews. And not only is it dealing with Old Testament Jews, but it says decreed for your people and your holy city. And that's Jerusalem. And what does this vision have to do with? It's to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin, to make atonement for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. And so these promises are made to introduce the coming millennial kingdom, when David would again reign over Israel. His throne would be reestablished on Zion, and it would be the end of transgression, and it would be a time of peace for Israel. So you are to know and discern that from the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It will be built, the temple, it will be built again with plaza and moat, even in times of distress. Then, after the 62 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off and have nothing, and the people of the Prince who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary. So here we see the fulfillment or the prophecy of Christ's death associated with his first earthly ministry. And then we jump until the millennial time, just before it starts, and it speaks of the Prince who is to come, who will destroy the city and the sanctuary. And that prince is the beast that we'll look at in a few minutes. That's talked about in Revelation chapter 13. And its end will come with a flood. Even to the end, there will be war, desolations are determined, and he will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week. So there's 62 weeks of years. That's 434 years. 62 times 7. That's where each week, instead of counting for 7 days, it counts for a year. So there's...
It does actually say that here. 434 years.
Yeah.
For the arrival of the Messiah.
Yes. But there's also 62 weeks, which is 42 years. And there's the final 1 week. And we don't want to get into this because this takes a lot of groundwork to lay it out. But the final 1 week, it says that the beast makes a covenant with the people, with Israel.
And that's 7 years?
That's 7 years. And so the last 7 years of the tribulation period that we've heard about the tribulation, there's a great battle in evangelical Christianity about is the rapture before the tribulation or after the tribulation. Well, that's the last week that we're talking about here.
Does it actually say rapture in the Bible?
It doesn't use the word rapture. The rapture, that's why I said there's a great controversy in evangelical Christianity. But what the rapture is a resurrection.
What is the Greek? Coming I don't know. Coming together or
Oh, you mean the rapture?
yeah.
Well,
What is it?
the rapture's what the evangelical church calls the rapture. It's explained in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and in 1 Corinthians 15. And in 1 Thessalonians it says that this rapture or this resurrection takes place at the time of the last trump and the voice of the archangel. And we know those two events come towards the very end of the tribulation period. And 1 Corinthians adds to it, the last trump. And remember, it's for those that sleep in the dust of the ground, for those who are asleep in Christ. The trumpet sounds and the voice of the archangel, then the dead in Christ will be raised. And then we which are alive and remain at that time will be caught up together with them in the clouds. So that's a great resurrection that happens at the end of this 70th week of Daniel, after the beast has been revealed, and so forth.
It's to see, snatch, or take suddenly, be caught up is what the Greek means, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I was reading my Bible that you gave me.
Awesome.
I learned something.
Okay. So that's just a very, very brief encapsulation of verses in the book of Daniel that refer to the beast that we're going to look at in Revelation chapter 13. So if you turn to Revelation 13, now remember that the book of Revelation, the revelation is the word of